Hi, welcome back to Leading Our Own Way. It's part 4 of Catherine's story. We dive into her journey of it's that self-discovery that we've been discussing at such a deep level, and personal transformation. We talked briefly about her line of work and overcoming significant trauma. Catherine shares how she learned to embrace vulnerability and reclaim her authentic identity. Her insights on breaking generational patterns and fostering healthy relationships offer hope and guidance. Thank you for joining us on Leading Our Own Way, Catherine. It's a powerful message that you're trying to get out to the world. I hope we can help many people. Here's part 4 with Catherine.
This following me around like heavy baggage does not serve me. So I need to face it and I need to sit in it. And then you sit and you cry with it. You sit and you process it. And you actually feel really good afterwards. And that's where the real process starts. That's when my healing really started, was when I stopped picking up the phone for distractions. I stopped picking up the phone for just chatting with people for hours on the phone and actually sitting with myself. And I don't own a TV. I don't distract myself at night. I invest in myself every single night because I want to, because I find it important, because I feel like I'm worth that.
Yeah. They're really important parts of the episodes that I go through with most of my guests, and that's led beautifully into it, I suppose. So there's some techniques and strategies that people can take away. Stepping away from work, I think, is very powerful as well, because this podcast, I've noticed, it wasn't, I have to think of keywords and tags that I have to put into the website and all of that. And choices is one that's come very prevalent really in the last 3, 4, 5 months. I've been doing this for about 13 months now. I mean, by the time this comes out, it'll be a lot more. But we're sitting in April when we're filming this, and so it's been a year since my first published. And really in the last 6 months, it's become very prevalent that choices, making people understand we have choices, no matter how programmed we are to be on the phone, go to work 9 to 5. So this is, and you're one of the very few people who have stepped away from the work. So let's paint that picture right there now for the viewers.
I'm really feeling good about investing in on myself because I've started studying. So
beautiful. What are you studying?
I've enrolled in it's actually domestic violence.
Oh, good.
Domestic violence, being an advocate for it. So
good. That's what I meant, good in doing something good for it. I didn't mean good for domestic violence, just to clarify for the viewers.
Yeah, that's right. It's like a civil rights activist. I want to really understand it because I've learnt so much, whether it's through police, whether it's through the magistrates, the law, the legislation, all of that. It's very living through what I've lived through and then studying it and being able to help men and women through this. It's something which is stirring inside me, which I can't stop. So if I was to look back on this when I was 80 years old, an old woman looking back on my life and looking at my life's purpose, with so many pivotal moments, especially since the start of this year, which have completely upheavaled my life entirely. If I was not to go down this path and assist men and women through this, I would have the biggest regret. Because there is something powerful when I see or I hear in the voices or the faces of the people that I speak to, when they have that inner glow, that inner drive back, that's something really important to me. And I want to keep moving.
You're turning your pain into purpose, aren't you? And I've asked this question a few times actually, because I feel like, and I could be wrong, and some people have argued against it sometimes, not on the show, I mean in other podcasts that I've listened to, but do you believe that we need to go through a crisis point to create change? Or do you think humans do have the ability as foresight to avoid, to change, put their purpose, their life into big purpose, a higher purpose, without going through the damage or the crisis or the near life death experience, whatever it may be? Do you think we have to go through it to really put the power into the new journey?
I actually really like that question, because to fully empathize and to sit in the moment with that person, there needs to be some sort of level of familiarity with it. So if I was to turn around to a woman and say, So your partner, you feel this, he does this, he says that. Has he put cameras in your house? Do those cameras have microphones in them? Do you feel like you can even make a phone call? Do you feel controlled? It's literally putting yourself into that situation and looking at it and going, there's something different with this. Whereas if I didn't go through this, I wouldn't have been able to know the little warning signs of, what did she just say then? What did he just say to her? What did she just say to him? And you're alert to it. You've got your own warning signs. You've got your own visual red flags that you see in other people, that you understand this because you've felt it to your core. So if you were to pick up a book and go, oh yeah, so a person can feel this and experience this. This is what happens to the brain when they're in shock. But when you're living in it, when you're numbed, when you go through different lines that you can say to your partner to help address problems with your therapist, and you go, I want to understand how I can be more assertive within my relationship, but not be so aggressive about it. Can we go through lines and keep going through it and going through it? And when you're stuck in the moment with him being horrific to you and you freeze up and you don't know what to say and you lock up, when you've lived through that moment of pause and numbness, you can't read about that in a book. You can't describe that without sitting in it and feeling it. And that there's power in that, because when you empathize and when you see it in the person and they can't find the words and you finish the sentence for them, there's that locking in of trust, because you know exactly what they're going through. So yeah, I do think that it's for you to learn how to have strength in a situation, you need to be on the floor with all this armor being so heavy on you that you need to stand up with this armor that's too heavy to carry. But then every single day you keep getting up until you build the muscle to hold it. And then it's easier each day to walk with it. And then every day it gets easier and easier and easier. And when you find someone that can sit with you and go, I understand everything that you've gone through, you can put that armor down.
Yeah.
But you're still just as powerful.
Well, it's creating that safe space for him to sit in the same space as you, isn't it? And I think you're right. I cannot find an example. I have heard of examples and people who are in a position to set up whatever it may be, the setup and go and help people. Maybe in a financial sense, I don't know. But I do believe, I don't think I would have ever changed my career if I hadn't have gone through what I went through. Toxic environments, workplace bullying, another toxic environment. Almost, that didn't even create the change for me. It was the near-death experience that created the change for me, and gone, I'm not going through this again, because I now know the effects on my organs, chronic, at a cellular level. The chronic stress that sets in. It was really my body speaking to me, and I was too busy trying to prove to myself otherwise. But then my body made me realize, because that has the power to make you listen at some point if it chooses to, right? So going back to your techniques then, I think that's, we've already mentioned about leaving work, and you've mentioned about getting rid of distractions and sitting in it. And getting rid of the TV is a powerful one, because I don't watch the news. I got rid of that. I'm on the borderline of not allowing the phone in the bedroom, and not touching the phone for the first hour of the day and the last hour of the day. I'm still not there yet. For those who are listening, going, well, you should be, because you advocate for this every single episode. But I'm not there. I'm not quite there yet. Do I put Netflix on occasionally? It's only really in the school holidays. I've been sitting watching something on the Netflix for the hour, because normally I never get a chance to, because I'm working on this till late, and then because I think about the brain, I think about my sleep, and so on. I could go on forever. But what do you do, Catherine, to, apart from everything you've just mentioned, to really set yourself up for the day? Do you meditate? Do you do breath work? Do you jump in cold water? What is it?
Well, I do occasionally use a plunge pool, but not all the time. The first time I used one, I didn't actually feel too much.
Interesting.
My body was numbed, and I didn't actually feel too much until I got out of the water, And then I started shaking uncontrollably, and I was extremely hungry, like to the point where I have not been that hungry since.
Had
It
you
was
done
quite an
cold
interesting.
showers before? That's quite interesting, actually.
Mm.
Sorry, Catherine, to cut you off. Um, had you done cold showers before you gone up, warmed yourself, cooled yourself to get to the cold plunge level, or did you just go straight to that?
So it was called Fire and Ice, and we did a cold plunge that wasn't as cold, then went into the sauna, and then went into the freezing
But
cold
it,
plunge.
even still, though, for
Mm.
really, you should be training your body for weeks
Yeah.
and months before you get to the cold
No,
plunge
don't
level.
do that. No,
So you're not done cold showers before that?
no,
I'd
no.
probably say, I
Yeah.
look, I'm not. I mean, I do look at the human physiology quite a lot. You can see by the books behind me, but I would say your body has what it's gone through with the
Mm.
chronic stress. That's why I didn't feel the cold water. And as you've
Yeah.
got out, because you've not trained your body to get to that level, it's gone into a bit of a shock.
It
And
did.
that's where cold plunges are not beneficial for anyone that's going through things, especially internally in
No.
the body, with organs and whatnot. That's probably. Oh, that's quite interesting. I've never come across
Mm.
that before.
Mm.
I'm thinking out loud now. Yeah, you should definitely train your body to get to a cold
Yeah.
plunge level, just so you
Yeah.
know. So don't do that
I
again.
agree. I agree. Learn from my mistake.
Yeah, I think it's powerful, and I do it. I do it every day.
Yeah.
I might have a day off a little bit more, so I can put my body through that stress again.
Mm.
A good stress, stress.
Mm.
Okay, so yeah, what else do you do then? Is there anything else that?
I play the piano,
Oh yeah, we
and
mentioned that. I
occasionally I
forgot
play the
about that.
guitar. Yeah, so
Yeah,
you
because I
saw my
watched you
blooper
online
reel.
too.
You saw my blooper reels. That was the most embarrassing thing to put up, but I actually filmed it for, well, I don't usually film myself playing because a few musicians have actually said this to me. As soon as you put a camera in front of you, you're all thumbs because of the pressure. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to listen and just sort of, if there's any sort of changes that I can do any renditions, anything like that. And then there was, when I was wearing the purple top, I just couldn't, I was not coordinated. There are some nights where you're not coordinated. So I showed one of my friends this, and she said, "You have to post this." And I've gone, "I'm not going to post this." And she's gone, "Please just post it, just for me, just post it." So I did, and I was really embarrassed by it. But the feedback that I had from it was that they actually saw that side to me where literally every second word was, fuck, I just, like, my fingers are not coordinated tonight, and I just couldn't get it right. But apart from that, I really do enjoy playing the piano because I lose all sense of time doing it. So at this point, unless it's a guided meditation, I can't meditate. I can't actually sit there because my mind does wander and it's not really able to focus. So playing the piano, I do find that it just closes all the tabs and I can just concentrate on what I'm doing, and I love it.
Yeah,
So
good.
yeah,
Well,
I
my
enjoy
tip
it.
for you is to just get your phone there, record it, but just
Yeah,
say to yourself, I'm not going to post it.
I'm
I
not going to
think, and
post
no
it.
one else is going to see it. And if you do that, you'll actually kill it. Not that you have to kill it every time, because people
Yeah.
love to see the vulnerability and the authenticity and you making
Yeah.
mistakes and swearing, like you said.
Yeah.
But put it there
Well, a lot.
and just say to yourself, I'm not going to post it, and you'll find yourself
I'm
being
not
able
going to
to.
post it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
can post it later if you choose to, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And it will be fine. So I do that, and I go
Yep.
to the gym quite a lot because I found that when I went to the gym, especially doing legs and pushing the plate really, really hard, it actually just makes me feel very good.
Yeah,
Um,
good.
it was actually a savior through the whole entire, especially at the beginning of the breakup. Um, One of the reasons why I did my photo shoot in the gym, um, I do want to bring this up, is because I claimed my body back. Because for years it wasn't mine. It didn't feel like I owned my body. It felt like it was controlled. And it felt like I wasn't connected with it. And every single time I went to the gym, every single time I pushed through that barrier, and I felt like I had my body back, and it was claiming my body back. And then there was obviously screenshots that were sent to the unmentionable, and he said that I looked like an escort wearing what I wore. So I
Who?
put up a post. I put up a post in relation to that, calling him out, but also stating the fact that why is it okay for every other woman to wear a bikini on the beach, but for some reason Catherine is different because of who she is and who she was to you. And now I'm being called an escort because I'm wearing the same outfit as every single other girl on that beach. Seems a bit strange, don't you think?
Mm.
And then it was me saying, I will wear this because I want to wear this. This next year is about what I choose to do, and you can't control that, and I'm glad. And the feedback that I had with that post was incredible, from mothers that had their sons that were in their first relationship where it was very tumultuous and he didn't know what to do with it, and women coming forward, in my inbox just saying, this actually really resonates with me and I thank you for that. And it actually makes me feel like I can move forward. I'm empowered myself, and thank you for voicing what I've been trying to find the words for. And I didn't realize the impact of what that point of view was. I've got my body back and there's nothing you can do about it.
Mm.
And the fact that you can't control that is not my problem.
Sure.
And that was pretty much that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know really what to say on it. It's a situation I've never really come across, but I can
Yeah.
understand your mindset around it for sure.
Mm.
Before you said earlier around bullying, whenever that word comes up, it triggers things in my brain, and it gets my focus on it a little bit.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier about bullying as a child.
Yeah.
Did your bullying because you were bullied from the age of 4, I remember you talking about in our pre-chat. Did your early experiences with bullying somehow have a connection with maybe your approach to relationships and your self-worth later down the track at all?
It's interesting how I can see where you're trying to connect with, whether it was the way that I saw myself and my self-worth
Yeah.
in the moments with choosing who I chose to have a relationship with. Well,
Maybe tell us a little bit about the bullying then. Maybe that's probably a better angle to go off, and then maybe it'll become crystal clear in our chat.
The bullying was even from my own friends. Although there were a couple of friends that I had they were amazing, and I'm still friends with them to this day.
Was this in primary school or high school?
This was in primary school and high school.
Yeah.
So when it came to the bullying, it was mostly because I looked different, and I think I triggered something within people that was male and females.
Look
And
different how?
I think features. I think my height. I did stand out in a way, and it was very interesting, even going to places that I didn't know anyone. It was very much instant. And I think it's because I stood out in that way, and there was a trigger within the people around within that circle that I now look at it very differently, because I don't look at it from the victim mentality. I just look at it going, it wasn't actually about me. It was about what was stirring inside them.
For sure.
And it's something that they had to work on within themselves, and hopefully...
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. Yeah, and hopefully in their adult brain, whether their children are now getting bullied, whether, they've gone through a situation in themselves, how what goes around comes around, whatever you believe in. If there is something that has happened to them where they need to then reflect, they never forget what they've done. They never forget how they've purposely woken up that day and they've gone to school and they've made someone's life a living hell every single day. And they will remember that. And I've actually had someone earlier this year reach out to me in Messenger, and he apologized for bullying me. And I remember saying to him, you weren't one of the bad ones, but it was playing on his mind all of these years, and he had to apologize because that was part of his healing. And I actually said to him, that takes a lot of courage for you to step forward and go, I'm owning this behavior. I'm owning what I said to you and how I made you feel at that party. And it's obviously been rotating through his mind quite a lot. And I was actually really, really grateful for how brave he was to come forward. And I said, when we have a next high school reunion, I'll give you a hug.
Yeah, amazing. It's
Okay.
fascinating that you bring that up because you're the second time somebody's shared that with me. I
Mm,
have an episode that isn't out yet, but will be
yeah,
out by the time this is out.
yeah.
So last month I had a guest called Ashley, and her journey is actually
Mm,
because I don't want the podcast to be known because of my journey as bullying that it's a bully podcast. I
mm,
think a lot of close friends who have never tuned in think it's just a bully podcast. It's nothing to do with that at all. It
mm,
does come up often, but it's not the aim of the show.
mm,
But this episode is around her workplace bullying. I met her through another former guest.
mm,
They're not connected in the journeys, but they connected of how they recover through breath work. And they set up a breathwork company together. However, she went through workplace bullying, and the end of the journey, and people should be listening to, if they've not, go back and listen to Ashley's episode. She's from LA, Los Angeles. She's actually, her friend, her bully actually contacted her years later and apologized, and they're friends now. And I think it's a beautiful ending to a horrific journey of why she moved to the side of the country and left her job and so on.
mm.
So that's fascinating. And I think takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of hard work. And, with my bullies, I'd love to sit down and go, hey, did I do something wrong to upset you? Did I do something wrong? Did I bring
I
out some?
actually did something in my 20s. In my early 20s, there was a bully at a house party that I was at. I had a bit of liquid courage at that point, so I've gone up to him and I said, "Can I ask you a question? What was your problem with me in high school?" And someone came in and asked me a question, and he just backed right off and then walked away. He
Hmm,
didn't know what to say in that moment,
you've
and
been called
it's
out.
yeah, pretty much. Because people know what they do. People know how they behave and how they make people feel, and they've got to take ownership for what they say and what they do, and find themselves accountable for it.
Absolutely.
Um, and it's the anchor that I actually had when I was a child, and I didn't realize that that's what I was doing, was they can make fun about whatever they want. They can say whatever they want about me, but they will never outsmart me. They will never take my mind away from me, and they will never control the way that I think about things. And it's almost like that was the seed that was planted when I was younger. And then it's interesting how it grew when I was an adult, because they could never take over the way that I process things, the way that I observe things. They could never do that. So it's interesting that I didn't even realize that I was training myself when I was a child, that they can say what they want, but I know what I think, what I observe, and who I am will never change.
So were you happy as a child then, despite being bullied?
Um,
Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.